Okay, so apparently the British pudding is dying, and not metaphorically.
And I hate everything.
According to English Heritage, the Great British Pud is basically on life support. And I know, I know, it sounds a little dramatic. Like are we a national sponge crisis or something?
You guys are in a crisis. I'm on my way.
The more I thought about it, the more I realised maybe pudding really is the canary in the cultural coal mine. So sometimes I read an article and I'm like, yep, that's clickbait. I see what you're doing and I'm not going to fall for it. And then I do. Because the headline that got me was The Great British Pudding is Dying. And I rolled my eyes, obviously. Like, okay. Who's eating pudding every single day? That's a bit like saying toast is going extinct because we're not eating it 3 times a day anymore. But then I haven't stopped thinking about this article since. The article dropped in August. Peak heat wave allegedly, although personally, I felt like I got 1 week of sunshine, 30 mosquito bites, and a blustery wind with cloud cover. And no, no one's making sticky toffee pudding in the middle of an alleged heat wave. Because pudding isn't a summer food. It's for sitting outside watching the seasons change. It's a firelight food for the cooler months. But as the weather shifts and as we slip on into slipper season, I suddenly realised they're kind of right. Because pudding isn't just about what's on the plate, it's about the season and why you're making it. And maybe that's what we're losing. Not just the pudding itself, but the word itself. We call it dessert now, like we're starring in some American sitcom. Or even worse, we just call it a treat and eat it standing up and on the go. And pudding kind of feels uncool, old fashioned, maybe even a little heavy. But fun fact, not all puddings are sweet. I mean, you got black pudding, steak and kidney, heck, even Yorkshire ones. It's a whole genre, not just a vibe. So maybe it's time that we stop apologizing for the word and start loving it again. It's soul feeding, not comfort eating. And it's about the shared family tables, the shared dinners, the instinct to offer something warm and sweet when the world starts to feel cold. Or it's even the alone time with something warm, and that's something that ice cream just can't touch. And when that disappears, you don't just lose pudding, you lose a culture of community, a lost chance to remember what that warmth feels like. Oh, and by the way, if you're enjoying this, maybe think about hitting subscribe. I don't just talk about puddings, I promise. I also talk about culture and politics and society, but have a think. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not like we don't love cake. We've built entire fan clubs around supermarket caterpillars, Colin, Cuthbert, literal legal dramas that deserve BBC dramas. And honestly, if you're a Colin fan, what do you call yourself? The colonizers? One day, one of you will laugh at my jokes. So according to research from English Heritage, the Great British Pudding is basically on life support. 2/3 of UK households now make pudding once a month or less, and a third never make them at all. Puddings used to be a national love language, the thing that you could rely on at school lunch that would just get you through the day. Or it was the part of the afternoon that, with a good movie and a blanket, kept the cold weather and rain out of your own thoughts. And sometimes, as a student, pudding was my dinner. They were heritage in syrup form. Sussex pond pudding, Bakewell tart, Yorkshire parkin. They weren't just recipes, they were maps and histories of pudding genius that you could taste. Every bite told you where you were, who came before you, and what was grown nearby. Now, our high streets are just homogenized. Every town centre has the same fast food, the same Tesco Express, the same sad Costa muffin. We've lost the local flavour, literally. The quirky little local bakeries, the tea rooms, the family run cake shops that used to keep these recipes alive are vanishing. They're just replaced or they're long gone. And this matters because if you've never eaten a proper steamed sponge, you won't know what to look for. If you've never had treacle tart made properly, you will overlook it. And if there's nowhere in your town still making it, that knowledge just slips away. And let's be frank, we didn't give up pudding because we got healthier. Although, yes, losing weight for many has been a part of it, we gave it up because we got railroaded and scared. Scared of sugar, scared of carbs, scared of joy unless it's under 150 calories and available in a vegan option. And I read one article that said climate change is making us obese because apparently when it's hot, people want ice cream.
Groundbreaking.
As an aside, if someone's hiring experts to point out the obvious, I'd like to formally apply. Pudding hits different. It's not impulse, it's ritual. We swapped steamed sponge for supermarket cheesecake. And suddenly the sweetness was there, but the ritual wasn't, and nor was the home baked goodness of it. We traded puddings full of care for puddings full of processing stages and emulsifiers. We swapped hot jam sponge for chocolate avocado mousse. We replaced treacle tart with gluten free, vegan, and maple syrup. We're not healthier, we're just more confused. We're just hungry in a much more anxious way. And puddings weren't just about sugar anyway. They gave the year texture. Now, we're eating Greek yogurt over the sink and calling it wellness. And you can't build a nation on protein yogurts. So, yes, if you're thinking, Emma's just made a whole video on puddings, yes, this is a video about puddings. But it's also about culture and family and meaning, the soul feeding food. Because pudding still has its place. It's one of the last soft little fun rituals. Without these little small ceremonies, the year flattens, the table empties, and life starts to feel less contented and a little less sweet. So maybe English heritage is right. Maybe the Great British pudding is dying. But it doesn't have to. We still have a choice to bring back small rituals, bring back sweetness that isn't algorithm approved. So the solution? Let's chill, not be chilly, and embrace the season, our heritage, and make that damn pudding. So please, hit subscribe, give me a like, give me a comment about what your pudding memory is or your favourite pudding. And please, let's get back into making puddings this season. Thank you so much.